What does it mean? I'm Kat.
I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Classy, the podcast where we ask, what does it mean? No, we're two teachers and we unwind, sip wine, and we each teach a lesson. A lesson. Wow. Hayley, yeah, there is chaotic energy tonight. We each teach a lesson we can't teach at school. What are we drinking? What has already inebriated us to the point where...
Well, I'll tell you what, the bottle is empty. So if that tells you anything, it's good. It is Pasqua's 2018 Sangiovese by... Or Puglia is also a word on the bottle.
Nailed it.
There are a lot of words on the bottle. Here's what I do know. You can get it for $11.99 at our sponsor, High Point Grocery here in Memphis. This is our specialty wine this week. And I mean, if the bottle's already empty, it's a good wine.
Oh, this one was my favorite from them so far. Like, this one is really freaking delicious, hence why we both like chugged it and now we can barely speak.
Yeah, I mean, hey, when it works, it works. I'm here for it. I didn't look up any of the hints of this or that or anything. You said it tastes like banana.
When I took a sip, it tasted like banana runts, like artificial banana. And like, that's not to say that it's like sweet or artificial tasting, but I just like got some banana.
There is like a hint of banana taste.
Yeah, I think there's banana taste, but it tastes fruity without being too sweet, has a lot of flavor. It's just really good. Yeah. I really like it.
I would say this is the most perfect bodied wine I've ever had. Not too heavy, not too light, just perfect.
Yeah, she's perfect.
Fucking Goldilocks of the wines.
She's an IG baddie of a wine. I'm into it.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that we got to stop in High Point. It's always such a pleasure to go in there. It's like, I feel like I'm kind of time traveling when we go in there because it's just a quaint little like gem of a place. They carry a lot of local brands and products, and the people there are so friendly.
Yeah, it's freaking lovely. We are so lucky that we get to interact with them on a weekly basis. And if you're a Memphian and you want to pop in, it is located at 469 High Point Terrace. Get yourself some wine.
Please.
Yeah,
do it for the sake of the public.
What does it mean?
What does it mean?
Get you some wine.
Get you some wine. I'm just going to copy everything you say.
That'd be crazy.
Either word for word or just like repeat it back to you, and it'll be like a therapy session. We'll be like, so what I'm hearing is that somebody was murdered. And you'll be like, yes, and I'll give you all the perfect transitions.
That would be awesome. I could use some transitions.
I'll see what I can do.
Do it. Help me out.
All right.
Go for it.
Well, I'm just excited. We have like so many things to talk about this week.
Like what?
Like, okay, first of all, we're wearing new t-shirts. You guys should see us in the freaking studio. Myself, Kat, and Alec we're all matching. It looks like a family portrait.
We're huge losers, you guys. We
huge
dress matching
with big hearts.
Big hearts, big other things. Do with that what you will.
Leave it to the imagination.
Yeah. But yeah, these shirts are so cute. Like I know it's our own merch, but like honestly, I'm obsessed with it. It's like just like a plain black tee with a white like logo of ours on it, and it's so simple. And I cut mine into a crop top, and it's like soft and stretchy and cute and perfect. Mm-hmm. I'm obsessed with it.
You can dress it up. You can dress it down. It's like, and the font of it is just like our cover art. It's just so cute, and it's a classic look, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just like simple, and yeah, I'm just like completely, I didn't know I would love it so much. Like we're like, we just need something simple that anyone can wear, and it's cheap. And I was like, okay, like I don't really care. And then we got them, and now it's my new favorite thing. I love it so much.
Super care.
Yeah, super care. Go get yourself one. They're only $15. I don't think we charge for shipping, do we?
No, it's $15.
$15 free shipping.
And I'm a guy, cute. And it fits me great too. So get one for your boyfriends, your men in your life.
Yeah, they're dope. So check that out. We also got those like cute university sweatshirts.
Oh my God. I love it so much. I wore it while teaching today and I just felt so scholarly because it's very cute. It says Night Classy University and it looks like we legit went to a Night Classy University.
Yeah.
It's like a very light gray, super soft.
Yeah, and their Champion brand, which I hear is cool with the youths.
Right. We were just talking earlier about the youths and how using certain emojis is out, totally out now.
Yeah, the laughing emoji, not cool.
Not cool.
It's been a challenge, but I've been trying to like wean it from my vocabulary.
Yeah, it's so hard. It's like my instant response when I type haha and the suggestion comes up to use that face. I'm like, not today, Satan.
No.
I'm not. I'm not old yet.
I'm a Gen Z millennial cusp. I'm not an elder millennial. I will not be using this emoji anymore. And one thing that really bummed me out the other day was apparently skinny jeans aren't cool, which I didn't know until a week ago. And I take personal offense.
I do too. I don't think I'll actually ever stop wearing skinny jeans.
Yeah, they're the most flattering, I think, on like most body types.
Yeah. And it's taken me so long to find jeans that actually fit. Screw the trends. I will not give in to fast fashion. At least I won't throw away my skinny jeans. I might give in to fast fashion sometimes.
You're like the meme of the guy like pushing his lips out and you're like looking at like Shein or something.
Yeah.
You're looking at Forever 21.
Yeah, but I'll tell you
I will
what.
not give in to fast fashion.
Tell you one thing that's not fast fashion is this Night Classy merch. So be friendly to, I almost said the economy. I mean, that too, but also Mother Nature.
Mother Nature.
Yeah. Get you a shirt that you can wear to every occasion. Night Classy.
It is good quality. We don't buy shit. It feels good. It is stretchy. It has some spandex in it.
It's a tee. It's a shirt.
It's a t-shirt. Woo! Stupid.
I love it though. Yeah, if you want this merch, go ahead, head over to the Night Classy link tree and all of our social media. You can go to the Parasaur website and go to their store, and it has all of our merch in there, including our stickers and our Host for Science shirt. Just get yourself decked out.
Good stuff. And like pro tip, if you're a patron, you get a special code that gets you a discount. So if you didn't know that and you're a patron, or if you're thinking about being a patron, you should do it and get yourself a discount. And also we're so close to having 50 Patreons. So if you're thinking about it, maybe, spring for that $1 a month and push us over the 50 mark. We would appreciate it.
Right. If not you, then who? If not now,
not me.
Then when?
Also, speaking of Patreon, we just recently filmed a new Night Creepy that's like so good.
Oh my God. Okay. I don't even know how we never heard of this place in Memphis, but we went to a fucking crystal cave.
It was a cave filled with crystals, and it was man-made. This artist in like the 1800s took a cave and filled it with fucking crystals and statues of Jesus. And we went there and snuck a Ouija board in and like had Tommy be the lookout while we Ouija'd in the crystal cave. It was so cool.
Yeah, like imagine a cave. Gosh, I can't even talk already. Imagine a cave, but add a little bit of crystal. You know that TikTok where they're like a little bit of spice.
Yeah. It's a spicy cave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
super spicy.
It was so fun. And we really did talk to a ghost in there. He really liked the number 3. So that's up on Patreon. Please check that out. Oh, I have one more thing.
Tell me.
So last week you taught us about the Kilroy, the first meme.
Yeah.
And my grandma listens to all our episodes. Bless her heart. I don't know how she gets through it.
Shout out Grandma.
Shout out Grandma. No, it's really wonderful. But she texted me and she's like, my uncle was like a manic depressant, and in like one of his manic phases, and he was like in the Coast Guard in World War II. So he was like very familiar with Kilroy, and in a manic state, he like graffitied it on a cafe. He wrote "Kilroy was here" and put it on the cafe.
Wow.
And ended up in jail for that.
I mean, if you're part of history, I mean, sometimes it's worth it to go to jail.
Right. I can't believe he got arrested for that. Like, that's fucked. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah, that's my blood. Free him. But yeah, so he graffitied Kilroy was here, which is wild. I never even heard of it until you told us about it.
Yeah, I didn't hear of it until it's just a rabbit hole you go on when you're trying to find something fun that would be a good lesson.
Yeah, I mean, we know how that is.
That's a problem with this podcast is that there are too many options. Like, we can literally teach lessons on anything.
Yeah. There's a lot of choices, and it's like every week I start like 3 different researches, and then I don't like have to pick one, and then I don't have time to switch, and then I have to do it, which is great. But yeah, there's a lot of choices. It's hard to pick.
It's hard to pick. And I have a great transition here. If you're listening and you're like, they should really teach a lesson about this, that is a perk of becoming a patron. At the level of $10 per month, you can choose a lesson topic for us. And speaking of Patreon, we actually have a new Patreon this week. Mike Malone. And this is a close friend of mine. His pronouns are he, him, and I met him at the University of Cincinnati. He's actually a professor there, and he specializes in education, so he really values education, obviously, and what we're doing. He is constantly listening to Night Classy, and I get texts from him while he's like painting his house or installing new light fixtures and things like that. He like has a super old Victorian house.
That's badass.
Yeah, it's really cool. And so he'll go like antiquing to find real like legit light fixtures and like doors and all that stuff. But yeah, he gets to pick a lesson, and I can't wait to see what it's going to be because he is an interesting man with so many options, like I said. And if you two are interested in picking out a lesson, head over to Patreon. Yeah. So thank you so much, Mike, for supporting the podcast. It means a lot.
Thank you, Mike. That is really, really kind of you. And yeah, I mean, A, we love a Patreon donation, but B, like, donate to us at our $10 tier so we can do your, like, the Patreon lessons are my favorite ones to do.
Yeah, it really helps us, like, connect to the audience, and that's one of the best things about this podcast is like getting to know you all as the listeners. Yeah, we started this because we thought it would be fun, but I feel like that's not really what keeps it going. Like, there are plenty of things that I could do every day that like make me feel good, but
right. It really does mean a lot to us. And like when you guys pick lessons, it's stuff that like we never would have thought of to do, and that makes it so much more fun. Like, I think sometimes we get stuck in our corner of like our interests and like what's popping up on our algorithms on Reddit and Facebook. And so it's nice to kind of get out of that box. So thank you, Mike.
And if you're looking at me like, what do you want to say now?
I wasn't sure that was his name. I was like
making sure. Yes, thank you, Mike. And I think that is a good plug on Patreon. So if you're not sure how to donate, just go back to the last 10 minutes. We talk about it several times. We appreciate you all so much. Yeah. Do you have anything else?
No, that's it. Do you want to get into it?
Let's get right into it.
All right. Well, we blew on our breathalyzer, and I blew a .056.
And I blew a .016.
Yeah, which crazy that's accurate. I mean, it has to be accurate. This is a real breathalyzer, but it seems low.
Yeah, I had a glass of wine. I blew twice on it, so I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
We had pizza beforehand. Maybe my pizza's just
sucking it all up. Yeah, because I feel drunk.
I feel great.
Yeah, I feel real good. Well, I hope my lesson makes you feel real good. We're going to start with a game of Would You Rather. Okay, so get ready. Would you rather eat a Snickers or a Milky Way?
Snickers, I think.
Really?
That's the one with the nuts in it, right?
Yeah, I disagree, but that's okay.
Yeah, okay. Good for you.
I like a good Milky Way. What can I say?
Milky Way is the one with like that like kind of
like the nougat-y thing.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And no nuts. I'm not a fan of nuts in my chocolate. Gosh,
I love a good crunch. I need sprinkles. I need nuts. I need ice.
Ew, you eat ice?
Definitely. 100%. You know how pregnant ladies are always like, when I gave birth, they just let me eat ice. I'd be like, that sounds like a fucking dream.
I guess. Have you ever been, do you know what a taco time is?
No, but it sounds great.
It is great. It's a fast food restaurant that's like only in like Washington, I think Oregon, and maybe Northern California. But it's like really good, like fast taco food. Like they get like all their ingredients from, I mean, this is not a Taco Time commercial. It's a great restaurant, but they have this ice that like in if you're from Washington, you know what I'm talking about. It's Taco Time ice.
Is it like Sonic ice?
It's the best ice. It might be like Sonic ice. It's like the little tiny like pellets, and they kind of have air bubbles in them, so they're really like easy to crunch.
Yeah, that's just like Sonic ice. Yeah, that's some good ice.
That is good ice.
Yeah.
My teeth are too sensitive to crunch on ice, but if I were gonna crunch on ice,
that would be it. Yeah, I'm not
Taco
trying to
Time
break
ice.
my tooth on ice. I'm just trying to get my sensation. Like, I don't even know what to call it. Like when you just like want to like feel a sensation.
Sometimes it feels good when like you get like your cheeks is kind of numb because you're crunching on so much ice, and you kind of like bite your cheek. Is that weird?
That's a little weird. Or at least I can't relate. I don't know. Maybe I'm the weird one.
Okay, next one. Skittles or Starbursts?
Starburst.
Okay. Sour Patch Kids or Swedish Fish?
Sour Patch Kids.
Wow, I disagree with you on every level.
I don't really seek out or like any of the candy you've talked about so far.
Okay,
Swedish
fine.
Fish over Sour Patch?
I don't really like Sour Patch.
You're just a wild card.
Total wild card.
I know, I have weird taste in candy. And then this last one, fish flavored or vomit flavored jelly beans?
Are they the same? I feel like you're gonna be like, joke's on you.
No, they're both bad.
Fish flavored.
Ooh, I'd go vomit, I think.
Why?
I think
Why?
A, because I don't eat fish, so like to me it's disgusting, like just as disgusting. But like B,
I'm more familiar with vomit, and I just want to play it safe.
It's true, I am. My dad, like I just have this memory because you know those Birdie Bots every flavor beans.
Yeah.
Where I got the idea for this question, like they have fish and vomit flavor. And on Christmas morning one year when I was like, I would have been really little, but my dad ate one, like I gave him a Birdie Bots bean and I knew it was fish flavor and I didn't tell him. I just told him it was a jelly bean and he ate it and then started throwing up immediately. And it was so funny. But like, joke's on me because now I throw up at the smell of fish. Like there have been mornings where I'm trying to feed the cats their wet food and I like throw up into the kitchen sink because it smells so bad.
Oh my God. For the first time today feeding Safety, I had almost the same reaction.
It smells so rancid.
I know.
It's awful. And then in the morning when like I also like get like morning sickness. I'm not pregnant. Like I've had morning sickness like every day for like 3 years in the morning. And so like I already don't feel good in the morning. And then the smell of that cat food hits you.
Ugh.
And oh God.
It's just life sickness.
I think I'm allergic to having to go to work. I only get morning sickness when I have to wake up early.
I don't want to work.
Maybe it's anxiety. We'll talk about that on another day.
All I know is that I dread it and it makes me feel bad and I throw up.
Sorry to all of you going to school for education. Just kidding. Okay. It's great. It's a very rewarding career.
Have you seen that meme where it was like, one of my students told me that like I inspired them to become a teacher and I was like, oh God, what have I done?
Yeah, that's rough. Okay. So speaking of rough, so this week it's so funny we were talking about this because I was like, what am I going to research? And I started researching this cult and then it turns out this cult was super into eugenics. And I was like,
that is
God.
so you to research a cult.
But it was like, it had this like cool hook. And then I started realizing that the cult was all about eugenics. And I was like, okay, like I definitely want to do this, but I'm not going to follow up last week's lesson with a lesson on eugenics. Then I was like, okay, gotta pick something else. And so then I started researching this mistress and of this like famous guy, and then she got murdered, and the murder was like super fucked up, and like someone ended up in jail, like it just like who shouldn't have been, and like it was also super depressing, and I was like, fuck, like I just want something happy. Like I just wanted a week where I could research something that made me happy and we could sit here and laugh and like not feel uncomfortable. And
so not gonna happen.
No,
it is eugenics.
No, it is happening. It is happening. Because I was like, God, I just don't want to do it. I can't, like, not another week. I refuse to be in a bad mood today.
What if your whole lesson was like on how to choose a lesson topic? And you were just like, first I was going to do this, and then I went down this rabbit hole, and then I did a little bit of this research, but then that led me to this.
I mean, that's pretty much what this lesson is, because I just thought of the happiest topic I could think of and like followed all the rabbit holes. And so this is a lesson on candy.
Okay.
Yeah. We're going to start with the history of candy, and then I just like went a few different directions and just like interesting stuff. So let's go.
A little bit of a list bitch energy this week.
A little bit of list bitch, but like kind of not. It all flows, I think. We'll see.
It flows.
Okay. In the United States, like candy is a broad term. Like I don't even know how you would define candy. It's kind of anything, any confection that's mostly made of sugar. And someone I was reading, like they made the distinction. They're like, okay, like you have like a cake or a pastry or a pie that is also mainly sugar, but like that's like a dessert. Candy is usually eaten with your hands, like not as a dessert, like just randomly in the day, which kind of like was a good distinction.
Yeah, it's more cash.
Yeah, it's like a casual dessert. And it's made by using different heating strategies. Like basically the main ingredient in most candies is water and sugar. And you get different consistency in your candy based on the temperature of the water.
Oh my gosh. Have you seen those videos on Facebook where it shows like how they make like taffy and like hard candies, where it's like churning the candy like gummy stuff, and
like,
then they like lay it out and
taffy.
roll it. Yeah. Oh my god, I could watch that stuff for hours.
Oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
Makes me feel nice inside. Almost as good as eating the candy.
Gives me the tingles.
Oh, I got the tingles.
What were you watching? Oh yeah, The Bachelor, where she was like trying to write erotica, and she was like, it tingles in my groin.
A flutter in my groin.
Flutter in my groin.
That was one of my vocab words for my students this week. I was like, what do you think it means to flutter?
I thought you were going to say groin. I was like, why?
Oh my God.
That would have been crazy.
Ooh, yeah, that would have been crazy.
But yeah, speaking of Bachelor erotica, we also are gonna like start a new podcast soon where we read Chris Harrison's erotic book. Yeah. God, I can't wait. Stay tuned for more news on that. Anyway, with hard candy, you want to get the water like really hot, and then softer candy, it's like medium temperature. And if you want to make like something gummy, you use cold water.
If you want to make candy hard, you got to get it hot. Is that what I'm hearing?
That is what you're hearing. That is accurate.
Okay. I'm following.
Good to know. Good to know. Of course, like there's different textures we associate with candy, like gummy or hard. I mean, and then like flavors, we have, I mean, you know the candy flavors. And there's also like I feel like some weird flavors that like shouldn't be candy, like licorice and peppermint, but we still
Why
associate
should peppermint
them.
not be candy?
Because it's like an herb. Like we don't have rosemary candy.
But you have banana candy.
But that's
you have
a
strawberry
fruit.
candy.
That's a fruit.
Okay.
I feel like fruits make sense.
Fruits, herbs, they're all fucking plants.
Okay, but an herb
You can't just have sugar
Hayley,
candy.
You do know the difference between a fruit and an herb, right?
Yes, I know the difference, but all I'm saying is that they both have flavors and they put that flavor into candy.
They do, but would you want like a leaf flavored? I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
I like mint flavored things.
I like mint flavored things as well, but like it's like whose idea was this?
That's a good question. Are you going to tell me?
No, but like also when I had German exchange students like every year in high school, and they would always be like very like interested in like root beer and like mint candy and like mint ice cream, because that's like weird to them. Like it's like toothpaste flavored candy essentially, which makes like it's weird.
Did you know that like the toothpaste industry made mint the like clean flavor on purpose as like a branding opportunity?
I think I have heard that.
I don't know any more details. I'm sure that
Okay.
you can get much more specific than
It's a future
that.
lesson. No, not in this lesson.
Yeah, broad strokes, okay.
In the US, chocolate is also considered a candy. In Scotland, the word candy only refers to like crystallized sugar. And in Australia, they refer to all candy as lollies.
I love that.
I love that too. And then in like the UK, most of the UK, like they just call them like sweets.
Kind of boring.
Yeah. I like lollies.
I like lollies too. I'd like to live in Australia or New Zealand.
Ooh.
That would be great.
That would be great. Let's go.
I'd go down under and get some lollies.
Okay. The word candy comes from ancient Sanskrit and it means a piece of sugar. It wasn't like the literal word candy. I don't know how they said it in Sanskrit, but later that Sanskrit term was adopted into the Arabic word quandi. And then the actual like word candy as we know it appeared for the first time in Middle English during the late 13th century. So not until the late 1400s was candy was there a word for it, really? And the farthest we can trace back to the concept of candy is this cave painting, I guess. I guess that's kind of the farthest way we can trace back. I don't know. There's not like a concrete thing, but there is a cave painting from around 6000 BC that shows a person like scooping honey out of a beehive. And so there's evidence from as far as like 8,000 years ago.
Jesus, can you imagine how many times they got stung if it was that long ago? Like,
yeah,
any protective gear?
Yeah, that must have just really sucked. I don't know.
I mean, I guess if it's worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, interrupted.
I mean, no, don't be sorry. It was probably worth it if you're starving.
The origin of the song "I Want Candy" was that cave drawing.
Yeah, if you only have raw meat and nettles to eat, I'd probably risk my life for some honey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I risk my life trying to drive to CVS just to get some Reese's peanut butter cups on a Wednesday night.
Right. Yes, I agree. So like we have evidence that people were eating sugary things, but it wouldn't be for a few more thousand years when sugar cane started to be used. So we believe that started with native South American tribes, and they would use sugarcane juice as a sweetener around 3,000 years ago. And we believe also that Papua New Guineans, is that how you say them? Papua New Guineans?
I believe so.
People in Papua New Guinea, they...
I really like the way that sounded. That was pleasing to the ears.
People in Papua New Guinea. So they knew about the sweetness of sugarcane as early as 4,000 BC. So they would kind of like chew on it, I think. But they weren't like refining it. And then by 2000 BC, the Egyptians started making like the closest thing we would identify as like actual candy, like not just using sugar cane. They started making marshmallows, which were sweetened by honey, and they made them out of these marsh flowers, which grew like literally in the marshes. Now we use gelatin in marshmallows instead of marsh flowers, but it was made out of flowers and honey. They also made honey cakes, which was a mixture of honey, dates, and nuts. And then they would put them in a mold, and they'd be in kind of like a shape.
Okay, also, our cats are obsessed with marshmallows.
Yeah.
Safety brought me one as a treat. I was laying on my bed, and he brought it up and popped it in front of me, and it was like chewed on and wet, and it had hairs on it.
Where do they get them?
Where the fuck? I don't know.
They have a secret marshmallow stash because I've looked. I don't know where. They just show up with marshmallows.
We must get to the bottom of the marsh because it's getting a little bit out of hand.
It's a real problem in our house.
I mean, what's going to happen next? Marshmallow's going to stick to something? We can't handle that.
I cannot.
I will not.
But yeah, Ernie and Safety just always are finding marshmallows. And like, we have a bag of marshmallows on our shelf. Kelly has a bag of marshmallows on her shelf, which Ernie has ripped open. But that one has since been sealed and put out of reach. And so there must just be a bag of marshmallows somewhere that we don't know about, that they're
stashed away.
It's so weird.
Sugar fiends.
They are fiends. So it wasn't until around 375 BC when Alexander the Great conquered India, and he was introduced to sugarcane there. And so this was kind of the first time that the West had seen sugar. He was really confused by it because he didn't understand how honey could be made without bees. He sounds real bright.
Aww.
Yeah.
That explains so much.
I know, right?
So simple.
Yeah. And then like once Roman civilization sprung up, they actually had sweet shops, but their sweets were dates that were stuffed with almonds and then stewed in honey.
That sounds amazing.
Really? I literally have in my notes, ew.
Are you serious? That sounds great. I bet it like gets crystallized and you've got like the crunch of the almonds. I'm here for it.
You could not pay me to eat that.
Couldn't pay you to eat a lot of things, so doesn't surprise me.
It just sounds bad. Like a soggy date that's covered in crystallized honey.
But then that's just like a Milky Way then, because you have that kind of like,
Do not say that a date soaked in honey is just like a Milky Way.
Sorry, I'm healthy and you're not.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
That is not true.
That's like Alec and I like forgot to pick our HelloFresh meals this week, so they just got assigned to us and they gave us all the healthy things like a barley bowl and like stuffed zucchini. And I was like, what is this shit? And we made the zucchini last night and I didn't even I ate like 2 bites of mine. I was like, I'd rather starve.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, why is she not feeling good?
No, I just I don't want zucchini that's stuffed with couscous. Like, fuck off. Who wants to eat that?
I mean, if you flavor it right, it could be good.
It was bad.
Okay.
It
Understandable.
was the first time I've had a HelloFresh meal that I was like, fuck off with this.
I mean, I paid $20 for an Indian meal last night just because I'm tired of what we've been eating this week. We meal prepped and I don't like any of it anymore. And it got to Thursday and I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, your Indian food looked real good when I was trying to eat my couscous zucchini boat.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I was trying to make you feel some type of way.
Yeah, it definitely made me. That's why we ordered pizza tonight. I was like, I can't.
Will not.
Will not. In Mexico, ancient Olmec civilization was the first to make a chocolate drink. And so they made it out of cacao. And I think it was just mixed with water. And so it was like this really bitter drink, kind of almost like coffee. And it originally had no sugar in it. But the Spaniards came and drank it and were freaking obsessed with it. They thought it gave them energy, which makes sense because a glass of cacao water, whatever the hell they were making, had about as much caffeine as decaffeinated coffee because chocolate has some caffeine. So they're really into it, and they were the first ones to add sugar to it and kind of make hot chocolate like we know now.
Oh, they're like, let's get this party started.
Yeah, they were being violent colonists and shit, and then they got lit on the sugar.
I need more energy to take over and
That's
commit
right.
acts of genocide. Ooh, I like sugar. I'm unique.
And the Olmec term for cacao actually means the food of the gods. So that's fun. I mean, I'd agree. Chocolate is pretty good.
Slap God on it and it goes viral.
Yep. Around 250 AD, candy started being made in India, and this is kind of credited as the first modern candy, because what they would do was they had this hard brown sugar and they were able to mold it into shapes of animals and people, so you had this hard candy made out of sugar essentially.
Dang, that's what they should start doing at hotels instead of the animal shaped towels. I want some animal shaped candy.
But I don't think you want this candy because I think it was just a block of sugar. Maybe you do.
I think you misjudge me.
Okay. We have very different tastes, I'm learning. These candies were only in India until 510 AD. The Persians came in and they conquered around, but they didn't steal the recipe. They just started exporting these things to other places. So it kind of got spread around. But then by 642 AD, Arabs invaded India and they actually stole the recipe. But then that allowed for it to become much more spread out, and it kind of spread out over the Mideast, the Fertile Valley area. And then by the 5th century, Spain had kind of grown a taste for candy, so much that they started growing their own licorice, because that licorice was used as a flavor for the candy, licorice root.
I wish they would have never.
Yeah, I hate licorice. By the 5th century, people are kind of starting to eat this stuff broadly around the world, but it was still kind of only a thing for rich people. That poor people didn't really have access to sugar.
Were there this sounds so stupid. Were there desserts? Did they just have cake?
Not really. They had, the rich people had desserts. They had fruit that had been stewed in honey. They had, we'll talk about it in a minute, but basically they'd have they'd mix sugar with herbs and eat it at the end of a meal.
God.
They didn't have anything good.
Life was bleak.
Yeah, it was real bad.
Life is bleak at times.
It used to be much worse.
It's better.
Yeah. We have Milky Ways now.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, in Central America, Mayans started chewing chicle from sapodilla trees.
I'll give you a nickel if I can taste your chicle.
Yeah, I looked this up. I still don't really understand what it is. It's like bark or something from a tree. It tastes
sounds like
licorice.
currency. It sounds like a piece of currency.
A chickle, it does.
Wait, is it chickle or shickle?
Tickle my pickle, I'll give you a chickle.
I'll give you a chickle sandwich. Chicken and Chinese, a Chinese chicken.
Chinese chickle. But yeah, I don't know. It was sweet.
Oh my God, is that where chiclets come from? The gum?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't see that. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I don't know either.
I'm no expert. China also started adopting sugar, and they'd add it to like traditional treats they had, like ginger, licorice, and nuts to like make it more of a dessert. I mean, imagine living without sugar. They had honey, but like,
not the same.
Not the same.
Not the same.
No. The Middle East was working really hard to come up with new ways to use sugar. So they ended up inventing caramel. I was gonna say caramel, and then I was gonna say caramel, and it came out caramel.
How do you normally pronounce it?
I usually say caramel, but then when I'm reading the word, I want to say caramel.
Caramel just sounds so... I don't know if I like it or not.
Caramel. My mom says caramel.
Yeah, it sounds really... I don't know what word I want to describe.
I watched a TikTok the other day, and it was like how to tell by the way people sound if they're rich. And it was like, at first it was vocal fry, but now everyone kind of talks with vocal fry, at least on the West Coast. And they're like, the way you can tell by listening to someone if they're rich is the way they say their like k sound. And if they say it like in kind of an airy way, like coffee, like, you know what I mean? I can't do it very well because I'm not rich. But like,
okay.
Like kind of like, and I feel like caramel is like the way rich people say caramel.
Yeah, it's just like a little extra thing that you don't need, but you do it because you've got the time and money to.
Right. Yeah. Just take your sweet time.
Can I chime in with chiclet update?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
This pre-Columbian chewing gum was tapped as a sap from various trees, but especially from the sapodilla tree. Chiclets are essentially the same as the indigenous shickle, with the innovation of a hard sugar coating offered in various flavors and colors.
Wow, so you were right on. You should fucking teach this for me.
Hey, I'm doing what I can. I can't carry the team.
Well, that's too bad. They invented caramel, and they actually originally didn't eat it. They'd use it to wax themselves, like wax their fucking hair off. And
gosh, that is not how I want to experience sugar.
No. And eventually they realized it was delicious. Hopefully, like, they realized that before they used it to wax themselves. I don't know. Maybe they were like waxing their upper lip and like got some in their mouth. They're like, this is really good.
They're like, not bad.
Not bad. Soon after, they also invented lozenges and marzipan, and the first ever sugar refinery in the world was built, and it was called Candia.
Candia.
And I actually like erased this from my notes because I thought that I had typed out Canada, and I was like, that's not right. I don't know what I was smoking, but like then I realized that was what it is, and I needed to go back a few and like put it back in. Anyway, the Crusades
okay.
The Crusades brought candy to Europe, and candied fruits and boiled sugar candies started to get popular, but they were still considered rare and exotic. Like I was talking about before, rich people would, and like royalty would have sugar, and sugar was like not something that you like, it was still treated as a luxury even to rich people. Like they'd only eat a little bit at the end of their meals, usually at parties. Indigestion was a big deal back then because they were eating so much rotten food. And so they'd eat herbs that like would help with indigestion, but they'd mix them with sugar to make them taste better. And you'd eat like a spoonful of that at the end. Or if you were really fancy, you'd have like a sugar paste for dessert. And the sugar paste would be like in a mold in the shape of like a castle or an animal.
It's like the anti-hero to toothpaste.
Yeah. They probably thought it was good for their teeth.
Yeah.
Back then, I don't know what they're doing.
I mean, fuck, if they're just eating herbs to help them eat regular food on a normal basis,
yeah.
that was the Wild West. The world was the Wild West.
Things were not great. And actually, that is a perfect segue because things start to not get great. In the 1400s, the demand for sugar was growing, but like it was expensive. And so Europe was like, how can we do this cheaply and make a bunch of it?
I knew this was coming.
Yeah, this sucked because I was like, this is going to be the most lighthearted lesson ever. But then it turns out like chattel slavery in South America was like a huge part of how candy and sugar became popular. So initially they started growing sugarcane in Sicily and the Canary Islands, but they needed more space. And so they found it when they invaded the West Indies and Brazil. And that was the perfect climate for growing sugarcane. And, you know, you probably know about the triangle trade route where human beings were stolen from West Africa and brought to the West Indies to be forced into really brutal chattel slavery. Growing sugarcane and refining sugar was a really, really difficult, dangerous, deadly work. And the climate there was horrible. It was like super hot and humid. There were tons of diseases. Like it was just like awful. And they were forced to grow and process sugar cane, and then the sugar was processed into sugar and also made into rum, and then the sugar would be shipped from there to Europe, and then Europe would send like random goods like cotton and shit down to West Africa again to trade for human beings. And so this kind of like went around, and the whole exchange made it so that sugar was made much more cheaply than before. You know, it gave more people access to sugar.
I'm just thinking of how I learned this in like elementary school, and I can see the map and like the arrows that show the triangle, and it's like so whitewashed, first of all. And I wish that history teachers, it was more common and just regular practice to contextualize what we're learning, because I've honestly never even thought of it. Like I knew that like, of course, people were forced to farm and tend to cotton and sugar and so many other crops. But it's like, well, when you think of it like, okay, now today we have Milky Ways and we have Snickers. And like, how did it get to be this way?
Right. And we learned about it in school, and I mean, this changed a little bit when I took like AP US history and stuff like that, where it was given a little bit more context. But when we initially learned about the triangles, like trade route in like 5th grade, it was just like we traded slaves for sugar and then this for this, and like it was just like there was no humanity given to it. And like human beings who were kidnapped were referred to to as slaves the entire time. It wasn't people were kidnapped and forced into slavery. It was slaves were taken from as if they were always slaves.
Yeah, just the perspective of it just needs fucking work. It needs to be disassembled and put back together.
Yeah, so that's really fucked up.
Okay.
I'm
gonna dip out. You keep going.
Right, I'm gonna head out. So that was awful. It led to the rise in popularity of sugar. Like we were talking about, hot chocolate was developed in South America, and then when these Spanish colonists moved north, and when people were sent from Northern Europe to the east coast of North America, they talked to indigenous peoples, and the indigenous people there had been making maple syrup for forever, like for a long ass time. So they were introduced to a new source of sugar. Then by the 17th century, candy had like become super popular in the American colonies. Chocolate had started to be spread around Europe. Hard chocolate was first invented by a Dutchman. So before it was like powdered cacao that you would add to pastries or drinks. But then a Dutchman in 1844 and then in Switzerland, they started making high quality hard chocolate. At the beginning of the 20th century, lemon drops and peppermints got really popular.
Ooh, love some peppermint.
Love some peppermint.
Wintergreen.
Do not like wintergreen.
Oh my gosh. In elementary school, my friend Alex and I, we would eat so many like Lifesaver wintergreen mints. The whole room would smell like them. Like, not only do I have a huge sweet tooth, but like my niche is that wintergreen spot.
That's so interesting. And like a fun fact, Alec keeps lifesaver mints in his office for clients, and Hayley likes the wintergreen ones and I like the peppermint ones, and so now he has both because we're spoiled rotten.
Yeah, spoiled rotten. Yeah, I kept saying wintergreen. That's so fucking wintergreen.
I didn't even correct. I just like heard you say it and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I'm gonna say it like that.
That's how you know someone's not wealthy. They do not say wintergreen. Wintergreen.
I'm from Ohio. Anyway, we're only halfway through these. We're not even halfway through these notes. We need to speed it up. So lollipops, saltwater taffy, and fudge were then invented, and candy became a massive part of our culture. And that leads us to our first rabbit hole. So Halloween is now a huge part of our culture, and part of Halloween is now candy. Candy was not really associated with Halloween until the 1950s. So before this, we celebrated Halloween, and then trick-or-treating kind of became a thing in 1930. It started to sort of happen, but it wasn't popular until 1940. And when trick-or-treating first started, it wasn't like you'd go to 1,000 houses and get candy from each of them. You'd go to like a few houses and you'd get usually homemade things. But
you saying 1,000 houses just gave me this vision of like trick-or-treaters going on a pilgrimage for the whole month of October to like literally hit 1,000. It's like the month of Halloween.
God, I wish.
Me too. It's my favorite holiday.
It's my favorite holiday too. And it was really sad this year not having trick-or-treaters.
I know.
Last year was so fun with all the last year was my first year where I had trick-or-treaters and I was the adult and got to hand out candy.
Yeah, you were owning that shit.
We had a good time.
Some kid tried to come back for round 2 and you're like, you've already been here.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. I remember so clearly. They had been there like it was probably more than 2 times.
Yeah,
they had been multiple times, and you're like, I've seen you before, and he was like,
I brought some big teacher energy to that.
Yeah, you did. I think you still gave him candy. You were like, here, just take one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the issue was we were running out, and so I was like, okay.
Oh yeah,
never mind.
I'm not kids candy.
I'm not a Karen. I don't want people to think I'm a Karen because I'm not.
You're not.
I'm not. I'm cool. So they'd get things like homemade cookies or cake, sometimes toys or money. By the 1950s and 60s, trick-or-treating like started to really pick up, but it still wasn't as like structured as it is now. Like now it's kind of a given and there's a way to do it, but it was still kind of unclear what you'd give to kids because small candy wasn't really being mass produced and marketed for Halloween the way it is now. Kool-Aid ran an ad that showed kids trick-or-treating, and you could invite kids into your house and give them a glass of Kool-Aid as their treat.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Don't, but also like, oh my God.
But also do.
Yeah, do. But can you imagine being a kid and you're just trying to get some candy, and then a old ass annoying adult is like, I don't have any candy, but do you want to come sit in my weird living room and have a Kool-Aid off a doily?
My weird living room with mustard curtains?
Yeah, exactly. You want to sit with my 8,000 cats and drink a glass of Kool-Aid? No, bitch, I don't.
Or like one year my grandma gave out mini Bibles.
Your family, man. What's going on?
All the things are going on. My mom was not pleased, and her and my grandma got in a fight about it, and then it escalated to like my mom was like, well, what if Hayley's gay one day? How would you feel about that? And it was just this whole religious like mega fight from what I'm told.
Oh my God.
Good times. Halloween.
I have a mini Bible somewhere because we used to have there was like these old guys that would come to my college and hand out mini Bibles, and they'd go straight to Greek row every time and get the girls like coming out from their from a fraternity house at like 8 a.m. on a Saturday and hand out the mini Bibles.
Wow. They'd really
shame you.
That is shitty.
Yeah. It was a good time. So when kids did get candy, it was full-sized candy because like they said like that fun-sized candy wasn't really a thing. And also like you didn't go hit up a bunch of houses. You were expected to go into strangers' houses and interact with them. Women's magazines at the time had like ideas for games on how to entertain trick-or-treaters.
That's what's wrong with kids these days. They don't know how to interact in person. I'm a boomer.
God, what kid would want that though?
No kids.
Sounds awful.
Give me the candy and I'm gone.
I remember one year we went trick-or-treating in my neighborhood in Seattle, and I grew up in the neighborhood was okay, but it was like near somewhere sketchy, and like it was not a family neighborhood. Like you just didn't trick-or-treat there because we usually would go to our friend's house in the suburbs and trick-or-treat there, but we couldn't that year. And so we went trick-or-treating, and like nobody was giving out candy, and we'd knock on doors and people would be like, I don't have anything, but they'd go into their pantries and like give us like whatever like boxes of cookies and stuff they had.
Aww.
And that was really nice. But then we went to this like old lady's house, and like she was so excited that there were trick-or-treaters there, and she like wanted us to come in, and so we went inside and like ate her weird hard candy, and it was in like in her dark living room, and it was really sweet. Like in retrospect, it probably made her entire day, but as a kid, I was like, get me out of here right now.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah. I want to go to Everett to the big suburban houses and get the good candy.
Oh yeah, there were 2 houses in our neighborhood that always gave out full-size candy bars. And I was like, no matter what happens, we have to hit this one first.
Definitely.
Full size or what is the, I don't know. Never mind.
I don't know what you're saying, but we got to move.
Yeah.
we
Sorry,
have a long way to go.
I mean, hey, when you say elaborate on your lesson, I say how high.
You're doing amazing, sweetie. So, I mean, as we know, like we've moved away from these homemade treats to commercial Halloween candy. This move was due largely to marketing from candy companies. They saw an opportunity. There was also, of course, the reason for convenience because, of course, people, usually women, didn't want to have to make popcorn balls and shit and package them. It was much easier to buy candy from the store. And then there's also like that urban myth that kind of emerged in the 70s that homemade treats might be poisoned. Like if they aren't sealed, they might be tampered with.
The satanic panic.
Yeah, pretty much. And like small towns were kind of on the decline and suburbs and cities were on the rise. So you kind of lost that feeling where you knew your neighbors. And I think that's where some of this fear comes from. I wondered what were the most popular Halloween candies. In the 1920s, it was Baby Ruth. In the 1930s, it was Three Musketeers.
I remember being in 3rd grade and my crush gave me a Babe Ruth for Valentine's Day. And I was like, oh my God, he's hitting on me.
He gave you the worst candy bar ever made.
Right, but the word babe was in it, so I was sold.
That's so funny. Fun fact about Three Musketeers. It used to be when you'd buy a Three Musketeers bar, there were actually 3 mini bars in there, and one was vanilla, one was strawberry, and one was chocolate. But during, I think it was World War II, I don't have this in my notes, but strawberry and vanilla flavors were like really hard to find, so they just made them all chocolate. But they're still called Three Musketeers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like the nuts and the chocolate and something else.
There's not nuts in Three Musketeers.
I have no idea. I never eat them.
They're not good.
Three Musketeers, I don't know her. I don't know them.
In the 1940s, M&Ms were the most popular. And then after that, the preference kind of shifted toward hard candies. Atomic fireballs were really popular in the Cold War era. In the 60s, they were really into sweet tarts. Chewy candy got popular in the 70s, like Laffy Taffy got really big. And since then, Skittles, Nerds Rope, and Airheads have been on the rise. One of the most popular candies, if not the most popular candy since 2010, has been Reese's Cups, which I understand. Yes. I'm on board with that.
My personal favorite, if not York Peppermint Patties, if not Lifesaver Wintergreens. There's a whole hierarchy.
Interesting combination.
It depends on the situation.
The 2019 candy rankings were Skittles with number 1, then Reese's, M&M's, Snickers, Starburst, Candy Corn, Hot Tamales, Tootsie Pops, Sour Patch Kids, and then Hershey bars. That's the end of my Halloween candy rabbit hole. I read early on that, like, you know, candy started out as a medicine, like you'd eat it to soothe your stomach. So that kind of made me wonder about candy used as medicine. And until the 18th century in the US, there wasn't really a difference between candy and medicine. It was
Okay.
yeah, it wasn't until the 19th century that apothecaries and confectionaries were distinctly separate, because candy was so tied into medicine, because you'd be prescribed these like shitty herbs and elixirs for your whatever you had, and it tasted horrible. So sugar was mainly used to sweeten your medicine, and that was kind of what it was associated with. It wasn't associated with a dessert. You'd use it to eat your medicine. And the first candy machine was actually used to make medicine. It was invented in 1947 by a pharmacist named Oliver Chase, and he made medicated candy lozenges. And then that machine would go on to make, you know, just like regular hard candy.
Oh my God. That was the first case of pill addiction and type 2 diabetes.
I mean, you can have them together.
I'm sorry if that was like making fun. I don't want people to be offended.
I think it's all right.
Okay.
And like even now, I was reading this thing where they're interviewing a professor who's an expert on candy culture in the US, and she was talking about how we still have like this idea where candy is somehow tied into medicine, because like if you walk down the medicine aisle, you see gummy vitamins, cough drops, chocolate laxatives. I also added this one, like weed gummies. Like we just associate, like we mix medicine with candy all the time still. Tums. And, you know, I eat Tums every day before I brush my teeth, because otherwise I throw up. So
gotta do what you gotta
like
do.
Candy.
The marvelous life of a teacher podcaster.
That's right. That actually brings me to, I think this is my last little rabbit hole. I wanted to know the weirdest candies. And in 2017, Hershey released it. I'm just trying to go fast. This is taking way longer than I thought it would. They released a line of candy called Taste of America. So they would have like candy for different states. Like New York had cherry cheesecake, Florida got key lime, but Texas got a barbecue flavored payday bar, which sounds disgusting.
Yeah. My parents went to Las Vegas and brought me back the best M&Ms I've ever had. They were mint chocolate M&Ms, and they were soft, because like I like M&Ms, but if I eat too many of them, the hard exterior cuts up my mouth. But these ones were soft.
They were soft on the outside?
Yeah, they were magical.
Weird. That sounds really good. Haribo has a gummy candy called Arschmidt Orden, which means butthead in German, and literally translates to ass with ears, because the German like conceptualization of a butthead is a butt with ears on the side, and these candies literally like look like gummy butts with ears. I have a picture of them right here.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, and they're just like sold willy-nilly. It's just a thing. And
sorry,
go ahead.
Speaking of gummy bears, I think you guys have, but for anyone listening, if you have not already, go to the reviews of the sugar-free Haribo, I don't know how to say it, Haribo gummy bears, because they're phenomenal and you will laugh so hard.
Yeah, they're like a laxative.
And like people, I can't. It's literary genius.
Yeah, it's incredible. Go look it up. An Austrian musician called Soap and Skin teamed up with a popular Austrian chocolate company named Zotter to make her own flavor of chocolate bar. And her chocolate bar, she must have been some kind of edgelord. Her chocolate bar was flavored with black cumin, cream of white poppy, white incense, and red wine. And then it was filled with a beetroot ganache that was mixed with pig's blood.
Okay, that's a lot going on.
Yeah, sounds disgusting. And it was sold on her website. I couldn't find any for sale right now. Prague has kitten tongue shaped chocolate. And I guess this is a thing, like kitten tongue and chocolate and kitten tongue cookies. It's a thing like all around Europe, and I think also in Asia. And it has like literal kittens on the wrapper. And it's just like these little like chocolate bars called kitten tongues. Which is interesting.
It looks like it would be for kittens.
Yeah, it looks like a cat treat.
Yeah.
And have you heard of miracle berries?
No.
I have some if you want to try them.
I do.
You eat one basically, and it makes everything you eat taste sweet.
right. Oh, yeah. You've told me about these.
Yeah, we need to try them because I dug them out of my closet today. I was like, I'm going to be like, I need to make sure I actually have them. And I do. Like, you eat them and then you can just like eat lemons and it tastes like you're eating oranges. It's really fun.
Yeah, let's make a video like that tonight and we can post it about this lesson.
Yeah. Do you have lemons?
I don't know what I have or what I don't have.
We need to have lemons because that's the best thing to eat. Okay, when you try it. And it's basically like these little tablets. They're called berries and they're made of a fruit that's native to West Africa. And traditionally it was used to put in bland dishes like oatmeal and then it would make it taste sweet, even though it wasn't actually adding any sugar. It just kind of makes the natural sugars in the food taste sweeter. You can buy them on Amazon. You let one dissolve on your tongue and they last about a half hour. And the best things to eat with these berries are lemons, limes, hot sauce, Sour Patch Kids, salt and vinegar chips, apples, and cream cheese. So if you want to try it, it's pretty fun.
Have a feast.
Yeah. They're cool. And then, so the weirdest candy I think is edible underwear. And I decided to do a little bit of research on this because I didn't really know, like I know what edible underwear is, but I wasn't sure of like the actual, how that works or why.
Please tell me you wore some edible underwear.
No, unfortunately I did this research.
Damn it.
Before I had time to buy them. But so in 1975, David Sanderson and Lee Bradley invented edible underwear and they named them candy pants. And when they invented them, they didn't think that they would actually be ever worn.
They should have named them candy panty.
Right.
Candy panty.
That would have made much more sense, but they did a
Men.
bad job. Men.
God.
Stupid idiots. They thought of it more as like an art project. And then when the more I read, it seemed more like a gag gift, but the intention was not like to be worn. But now I guess people do wear them. Now they're sold mostly in sex shops. When they came out, they were actually sold in like the lingerie section of department stores, which how weird is that? And in candy stores.
Really?
Yeah. Like it was just like, I think it was just like a gag gift kind of thing. But then I don't know why they were in department stores. I don't know. So there's two types of gummy underwear from what I could find. There's ones that are made of, it looks like rice paper or something. They're very papery. I read some reviews and like it rips easily and it tastes bad. Not great. But there's also candy underwear made of gummies. It kind of looks like Twizzlers or like, I don't know, but that's supposed to be better. It stretches and it's a little more malleable. It doesn't rip as easily. So here's pictures of both kinds.
Okay. Yeah, because I could picture the like rice paper, but
yeah,
I've never seen the gummy ones. Yeah, that just looks like that looks really funny.
Yeah, it looks really stupid. The rice paper kind of dissolves, so I can see
you got
how that might be
not for you,
but maybe it is for you
if you're trying to melt it.
Yeah, if you're trying to melt it, like I can see why that might be a fun time, but I can't see how the gummy one, because the gummy is like a half an inch thick. Like I feel like you just be gnawing on it. I don't know. It doesn't.
Yes, something would be gnawing on it,
right? I just don't really see the point.
It's so someone can eat it off you,
right? But why? Like whipped cream seems like a better. I don't know. This just seems like a sticky mess. And also, candy from sex stores tastes horrible.
Right. They're not in it for the flavor.
No. Like I've eaten like gummy dicks and like dick lollipops from sex stores before. And the thing is that those gag gift types of things at sex stores, they don't sell very many of them. So they sit on the shelf for years.
They're meant to be looked at, not eaten.
Yeah. But then if you're like drunk at a party and you get one as like a gag gift and then you want to eat a lollipop and then you try and it just tastes horrible. It's a disappointment.
Every time.
This has happened to me multiple times in my life and it's always a huge disappointment. It never tastes good. Don't eat candy from sex stores. I mean, do, but don't expect it to taste good.
Do, but don't.
Do, but don't. Lastly, I just have a few fun facts about candy and I'm going to start with my favorite fact. Sugar daddies, you know what those are?
Yes.
They were originally called Papa Suckers.
I don't know how I feel about that. I was going to say something. I don't know what it was. Papa Suckers.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I don't know how to feel about that. It is kinky. Yeah, sugar daddy's more PG, I guess.
Sort of. They should have called them daddy suckers.
Ooh, yeah, they should have missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, that just gave me like a visual flashback. One time when I was like, I must have been 4 years old, when we were on an airplane, we were going on vacation somewhere. My parents gave me this candy, and it was a lollipop, but there was this attachment to it that was like a case of sprinkles, and you could lick the lollipop and then dip the lollipop into the sprinkles, and it would be all connected to it. But then I spilt it all over, and it was all in the airplane like aisle and everything.
God. I mean, that's like, you remember when like Baby Bottle pops in like paint? Do you remember the paint candy? It was like a paintbrush lollipop that you dip in the powder.
Yeah, whoa. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
Brain train. But yeah, it was like really big in the 2000s, that kind of candy. And I'd always want it. And then my mom would get it for me and you'd eat it in the car and it would just make a huge ass mess.
Oh my God. My little brother popped one of those fucking like icebreaker mints that was like had the juice in it. He popped it in his eye multiple times.
Oh my God.
Like,
why? How?
He just wanted to see the inside of it so bad.
Oh my God.
Who knows who was giving him freaking icebreaker poppable bubble mints?
Why were mints so weird back then? Do you remember Listerine strips?
I fuck with Listerine strips hard.
Do they still make those?
They do.
Oh.
They do.
I haven't had them since like 2005.
I feel like the 2000s in general hit that threshold of like just like a girl getting ready. If you give her too much time, like Jenna Marbles says, she's just gonna keep adding the makeup and it's gonna be bad. That's
gonna
what
be
happened.
too much.
That's what happened to candy.
Yeah, that's true. They really did too much with candy back then.
They did. I just want to stick to my Reese's peanut butter cups.
Do you remember the Gushers commercial where it would turn their heads into fruit?
Yeah.
I was literally scared to eat Gushers because I thought my head would turn into fruit.
That did not make me want to eat Gushers.
No.
Or Sour Patch Kids. I didn't want my hair cut.
Yeah.
I don't want bangs.
Yeah, those were scary too. And Warheads, when your head would turn into like a baby head. Do you remember that? What were they thinking?
What the hell?
Anyway, we gotta move. The mystery flavor of Dum Dums is always a mix of two flavors. So it's made at the end of a cycle, like when they're done making a flavor and there's still some left into the machine and then they add the next flavor. It's that mix between the two.
Oh.
Yeah. Jolly Ranchers were invented in 1949 in Colorado, and the name Jolly Rancher was chosen to convey Western hospitality, like a Jolly Rancher.
That's funny.
Like
okay. You're a Jolly Rancher.
Aw, thanks.
You're welcome.
Snickers and lollipops were both made after their inventor's favorite horse.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Snickers is a good name for a horse.
It is a good name for a horse, but like what horse was named Lollipop before a lollipop was a thing? You just named your horse
some
Lollipop?
Horse in Australia. The lollies down under.
I guess. It was weird. The Smell and Taste Research Foundation in Chicago found that a very, very strong aphrodisiac is the smell of Good and Plenty's mixed with the smell of cucumber.
What is the Good and Plenty?
It's those, those candies, they kind of look like Mike and Ike's, but they're only pink and white and they're black licorice flavor.
Oh,
you've never seen those? They're in like a pink box.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And they taste like black licorice, but I guess the smell of those mixed with cucumber is a really strong aphrodisiac, especially for women. Women in particular are turned on by the smell.
They should make a candle.
Yeah, they should make a cologne.
They should make a porn shop candy or sex shop. Not porn shop. Is a porn shop a thing?
Probably. Just a sex shop, I guess. I don't know
either.
And the very last thing I have is some candy wine pairings to top us off.
Yay.
So I guess candy corn pairs with Chardonnay, Skittles pairs with Sauvignon Blanc, Hershey's and Zinfandel, Starburst and Moscato, Reese's and Merlot, Gummy Worms and Rosé, Snickers and Cabernet Sauvignon, and finally, our favorite Pinot Noir pairs with Twizzlers.
Wow, we should have a wine and candy night. Just like make a charcuterie board and just candy.
Oh my God. We should absolutely do that. And Alec and I brought us a little bit of candy in case this episode made us hungry for candy.
Sweet. Literally sweet.
It is sweet. And then lastly, I just want to cite my sources. So I have candystore.com, aarp.org, smithsonianmag.com, mashablecandy.com, lineofbestfit.co, businessinsider.com, Spoon University, Wikipedia, tropicalfoods.com, and foleyfoodandwinesociety.com. And that was my learning journey. Let's hear a word from our sponsor, and we'll see ya.
Okay, so today I was just lesson planning, working from home, you know, how you do in quarantine. And Tommy, my partner, came up to me and he gave me a kiss and he was like, oh, your lips are all juicy from the popcorn you're eating. And I was like, thank you. But no, this is Ralphie and Alice, my lipsticks. It's a hydrating balm. My lips felt so juicy and moisturized that he thought it was tons of grease from popcorn. I don't know how to feel about that, but I do know my lips were popping.
Yeah, thank God it was Ralphie and Alice and not popcorn grease. Did he say it in a way like he enjoyed it?
Yeah, he was like, ooh, that was tasty. And I was like, what? You're not tasting butter.
Yeah. I have a pleasant surprise for you, Bucko. It's not something disgusting. It is like a delicious, vegan, natural, amazing lip balm. So
right.
You're welcome.
I can't believe it's vegan. So Ralphie and Alice really came through. Like, not only am I, you know, really rocking my smooth lips with my lipsticks from Ralphie and Alice, but my partner enjoys it as well. Apparently it's a nice little tasty treat. I really like it too. My lips are not chapped at all this winter, and thankfully, I mean, I got the 4-pack, but you do you. I have a Ralphie and Alice to go with me wherever I go.
It's so perfect, and like you said, wherever you go, you just throw it in your purse, and it's big, so like, you know, it goes a long way. You can use it on your lips. I use it sometimes when I get like a dry spot on my hand. All of a sudden, it's dry in Memphis, and it's never dry here, and my skin is dying. So it's so nice to have something that I can just like, I don't know, spot check. But yeah, it's freaking great. If you are also struggling with the dry skin a little bit and you have some greasy popcorn lips and you want to make an improvement, you can head to ralphieandalice.com and we have a promo code for you.
Go ahead and enter classy, all one word, no spaces, at Ralphie and Alice's website.
Kiss my lips goodbye.
I'm sorry. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's get it.
Cool, we're rolling.
All right, everyone. So this lesson learning journey. Lesson. If you're French. Or if you're not, because that's probably not right.
It's like, well, I didn't know you knew French.
I don't. I mean, I know some Spanish, which is similar to French.
It's the same.
Yeah, it's just different names. They just are trying to psych you out. That's not true. Anyway. This lesson, it will not be as light and as fun as your lesson, but it's very interesting, in my opinion.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so personally, this transition is not going to make it seem anything like light and fun, but it will be, trust me. So personally, death has always been very interesting to me. It's the one thing that we're all going to do one day, is dying, and none of us really know what comes afterwards. We can imagine it, we can believe in something afterwards, but we're all going to die.
Is this a lesson on like past lives, or when you die and then you
No, it's not, life? But that would be a really, really great lesson topic.
Yeah,
that would be good.
I have past lives on my list, but I don't have that thing where you die and then you get revived and you're like, I was in heaven.
Oh my gosh, there was this really cool TikTok that I watched the other day, and this girl was talking about why she's not scared of death, because she was like in a, like, I don't remember what happened, but something happened to her, and she was like, it was just very peaceful, and it was like so light and airy, and I felt amazing, and then I came back to actual life, and I just knew that it was all gonna be okay.
I love those stories. It makes me feel so much better.
Me too. I'm like, okay, so there is something else and everything's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want that lesson, you can have it. You can have it.
We should work on one together. We should co-teach a lesson.
You know what? We have a date with drinking the Kool-Aid. We could do something like this.
Do we just become best friends?
Okay.
This is how a cult forms. When you're like, we're going to decide what the afterlife is like and teach you guys a lesson about it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what the afterlife is like. You feel peaceful and there's nothing.
But at the same time, there's everything.
Yeah.
Everything is nothing. Nothing is everything. Mm-hmm. It's really bright, but you don't need sunglasses.
Ooh, I thought it would be dark.
Well,
we disagree.
So we disagree. Okay, there's only one way to know, and that is that's when you die. So your soul goes to some unknown place. It's bright, it's dark, we don't really know. But one thing we know for sure is that your body remains on Earth. And the thought of watching a body decay definitely isn't for everyone. But at some point, something happens to your body after you die. So I'm going to run through the stages of decomposition.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sure you know most of this already.
I know nothing.
I feel like
I know that song that's like the worms crawl in, the worms crawl out, the worms play pinochle in your snout, they eat your eyes, they eat your nose, they eat the jelly between your toes. And I can keep going, but I won't.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge part of it. There's a little bit before and a little bit after, but you summed it up well. There's a lot of worms.
That's all I know.
I'm worming on you. Well, anyway, after you die, the first stage is the initial decay. This is at a cellular level where cells start to digest themselves and bacteria starts to really amp up. You get more and more bacteria. And you can't really see that until you get into stage 2 of decomposition, and that is bloating. So from all of this bacteria building up and the cells digesting themselves, gases accumulate in the body. And I wrote in my notes, bloating isn't just for the living. It do not get better. I didn't.
You can't even escape it when you die.
You can't even use proper grammar.
Impossible.
Yeah, no matter what, you're going to bloat. So eat what you want to today, because before you know it, you're going to be bloating anyway.
Yeah, eat that mac and cheese, get that salt, get those carbs.
Yes, ma'am. And there's also marbling.
Ooh.
What's
that?
This is where sulfur binds to the hemoglobin in the body, and it causes your skin to turn a yellowish orange color. So you're bloating, you're turning different colors. It sounds magical at surface level, but it makes plenty of people throw up.
Sounds like you can get a good tan after you're dead. That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, yeah, if you're Donald Trump, it's a good tan.
I mean, I'm putting it in my will that if I have an open casket funeral, someone has to give me a spray tan.
Oh, yeah, I'll make sure that happens.
Yeah.
You're definitely dying before me. So. Because I'm so much more younger by 9 months.
Hey, you're a whole year younger in our age number, so
well, hey,
that's what counts.
That's what counts.
That's what a whole 7 years younger than Alec and 9 years younger than Tommy.
Wow, you're just outing all the all the
so
oldies.
Young.
Now and thens. Now and laters. Anyway.
I just needed to throw them under the bus to make me feel young again.
Right, yeah. A true bully, making others feel bad so that you can feel good about yourself.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not complaining.
Is it finding out that skinny jeans and the laughing emoji isn't enough of just stealing my entire identity tonight?
Okay, you also were teaching us the Soulja Boy dance and elaborating on the words and what they meant. So
yeah.
Did we do it or did you do it to yourself?
I did it to myself. Just slowly reach over and mute my mic.
Just unplug it completely. Just stop recording.
Just pull my level down.
Can you imagine? Thank goodness we all have such good senses of humor.
Just like the sun going down.
Fade out. Well, just like aging for our significantly older boyfriends goes.
The kiss of death, so near.
Hey, but we'll outlive them and we can put them in the ground and then move in with each other and combine all our finances and live like widowed queens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I told Tommy he's not allowed to get hitched like when he goes to the afterlife, but I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, you can remarry in this life and then go back to him in the afterlife.
Right. I'm a hoe for science.
I mean,
and that's to the grave.
You're dating an old man. You have to be able to remarry after they die.
You have to logically be able to think about the situation you're in and plan for the future.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the deal.
Sounds like we have a plan. And
you want a young girlfriend? You gotta
deal with
goth girl. You gotta
deal with the consequences, and that's getting poisoned when you're 55 years old and we're taking your fucking life insurance.
Yeah.
Also, if that does end up happening, do not use this against me, because when I said it on January 22nd, 2021, I was not planning it.
Yeah.
This is not
This is not a long-term plan.
It's a little joke
for legal reasons. Yeah.
For legal reasons solely, but Kat, you and I will talk later.
Yeah, good discussion later tonight over our M-berries.
Right. Okay, back to decaying corpses. So your skin is turning yellow and it's turning orange, and you're really baking in this nice tan, and the flies and the general vicinity, they smell a smelly smell. A smell that smells smelly. So they show up to the party and they're like, "What's up, boys? I hope you don't mind I brought my friends." And they start laying their eggs, and there's maggots everywhere, and they're crunching on your body, and they really like it.
It's the best time.
It's the best time. They really like orifices, so there's always a lot of maggots in the head, like in your eyeballs and in your mouth, and like if you like had an autopsy and like the sutures from your autopsy and all that stuff. And then you move into phase 3 of decomposition. After a few days, you go into purge. And this is when your body has bloated so much that all of the gases build up inside of your body and the skin bursts. And it leaks all of the fluids from inside. They are very nutrient rich. So they're so nutrient rich that it kills everything around it. Like whatever it touches, all the plants are going to die.
Wait, I thought that would mean it was good for plants.
It's too much.
Oh.
It's like how you can drink too much water, like too much nutrients. It kills everything around it.
Huh.
And that is, of course, if vultures cannot get to your body. Like if it's just out in the open, it looks a little bit different if you're like in a coffin. It kind of slows things down, or if you've been injected with like formaldehyde. But this is just the natural decomposition process. So, purging might be a few days, like more than a few days after. But after you purge, you get into stage 4, which is the advanced decay. So the maggots finish up their meal, and the body is visually smaller because it's shrunk, and all of your soft tissues and muscles have been eaten. And especially if you're in the sun, the body mummifies, and your skin can turn to what looks like maybe clothing or leather, but it's actually your skin. It gets all dried out.
So what I'm hearing is you get a tan, you lose some weight, and then you get a fun leather jacket.
I'm not saying
they're so in right now
that I'm ready to die. I'm just saying that it'll be fine.
Yeah, it sounds like a good time.
It sounds like a great time. It's science-y. We're here for it. And if you're in the shade, insects just eat the rest of you. If, again, vultures have not eaten all the meat off your body already, which they can do within hours. Fun fact.
Wow.
So
I saw a vulture the other day. Did I tell you about this?
Was there something dead on the road?
No, I just saw a vulture flying around on our street in Memphis, in the city.
There have been so many possums on the side of the road, though. Like on multiple streets, I've seen multiple possums.
Yeah, I must have been eating a possum. Also, I saw a live possum running around by my school yesterday.
It's so wild when you see wildlife in Memphis. You're like, what the hell? Like, I thought they were all extinct. Like, I haven't seen wildlife in 5 years.
Literally, a bird? That's like, there were birds outside the other day, and Alec came in to our room in the morning. He's like, there are so many birds out there.
Yeah, like when you get woken up by bird sounds and you're like, is this a dream?
Yeah.
Or is this real life?
I thought I got rid of this shit when I moved to a city. I don't want to be woken up by birds. I'm not fucking Snow White.
Aren't birds fake? I'm not Snow White. I'm not Snow White. I just invested in new tan solution.
I just bought drops for my face that I saw on TikTok. I don't need any birds.
I just died and spent 2 weeks in the sun. I'm not Snow White. I'm Leather. Leather, I barely know her.
What if there was like a leather princess? I would be so here for that.
A Disney princess?
Yeah, but she's like a leather daddy.
We need a leather princess. We need more black princesses. We need more princesses with bumps in their noses.
Yeah.
We need transsexual princesses. We need all the fucking princesses.
Yeah, give me all the princesses.
Yeah, that's like Daryl in The Office when he's like, I want to see all the different types of presidents. Now that I've seen like Barack Obama in office, I want to see all the different types of Disney princesses.
Oh my God, yeah.
I want to see corpse Disney princess.
The Corpse Bride. It's not Disney, but it's pretty close to
close.
a corpse Disney princess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want more of that.
She cute.
She is cute.
Yeah.
Those eyelashes.
God, I wanted to look like her when I watched that movie in like second grade, and I mean, probably not a good thing.
Right.
She was emaciated and had huge bulging eyes. Like, she did not look like a human.
Yeah,
but I was like, that's attractive. This is what I'm going to base my whole aesthetic on forever.
I don't know why, but I'm oddly attracted to this clay animation. I'm not saying that I want
I'm feeling
her.
What is it? Tingles in my groin. Flutters in my
Flutters
groin.
in my groin.
For this claymation corpse.
I either want to be her or I want to do her.
Yeah, it was unclear.
I don't know.
But I was also I was very attracted to the like male protagonist in that movie too, and he was like super skinny and pale with dark hair, and I mean that checks out.
Yep,
with my current
sure
boyfriend.
does. Ding, ding, ding. Right answer. Ooh, all right. Well, I'm glad that your corpse dream worked out. Because for some, it's hard to imagine a loved one's body decomposing after they've died. And we can tend to, I feel like, really put that thought out of mind pretty easily when you can go to like their grave site at a cemetery, or, you know, they're encased in a beautiful urn on top of your fireplace. But if you're a person of Torajan, you don't have to go very far to visit the gravesite of a deceased loved one. Along with the Torajan people's massive...
Pause. Am I supposed to know what the hell Torajan is?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
That's a great question. It is a group of people. It's, I believe, not a country, but like a section of Indonesia.
Okay.
It's
like a tribe in Indonesia?
Sulawesi, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah. Yeah. So these Torajan people are extremely well known for their massive peaked roofs on their traditional housing. They're known for their elaborate wood carvings, and they're also well known for their unique funeral traditions. The Torajan people don't even have to leave their houses to visit a deceased loved one's burial site. In fact, there's no burial site at all. They just have the body. In their culture, they worship the souls of the deceased, and they're not afraid of dead bodies. They believe that if a person or body is at home, they're not dead. Instead, they just think of them as being sick.
That's a beautiful thought, but wouldn't that fucking stink?
Well, we'll get to it. But basically, when a loved one dies, they still take care of the bodies as if they're living. They give them food, they pray with them, they give them water, they turn on the lights in their room at night, and they even like give them cigarettes. When they die, they inject them with formalin, which is a watered down formaldehyde to prevent decomposition, and they use dried plants to soak up the odor of the body and the formalin. So yeah, like you can show this picture. Here's one of the first.
Oh, wow.
Images.
It looks really well preserved.
This woman has only been deceased for 3 days.
Okay.
She's
Yeah,
106 years old.
She looks really small. Is there a reason Or is she just a small lady?
I think she's just, first of all, a small lady. And like we talked about through the stages of decomposition, she's probably in, I don't know, she's probably is not at bloating yet because she's probably just kind of starting to sink into herself. You know, cells are starting to eat themselves basically.
So she's laying on, it kind of looks like a bed. There's a lot of colorful fabric around her. She's in a white dress. And I mean, she kind of just looks like an old lady who's sleeping. And then there's a younger alive woman like bending over her kind of.
Yeah, and that's exactly how they picture them, is that they're just sleeping, they're sick, and they're someone to be taken care of.
Okay.
But her skin is like gray and sunken in her eye sockets.
Yeah, she's definitely dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just don't see it that way. Poorer families tend to keep the body for several weeks. The middle class will keep it for several months. The higher class will keep the body for a few years. But this also depends on other reasons too. How long they keep the sick, in quotations, loved one in the house depends on how much they've saved up. Because what they're saving for is a funeral ceremony. So they do have funerals, but at the same time, it's considered to be the most important day in someone's life and are very, very expensive. Families and individuals save up their entire lives to put on a good funeral. And before the 1920s, the Torajan people practiced Aluk Todolo religion in the 1920s. I already said 1920s. That's okay. But anyway, in the 1920s, Dutch people showed up to spread Christianity, you know, like
As
you
they
do.
Yeah.
Like you do. And so it worked. And these days, the Torajan people are Christian, but have still attach themselves to these ancient traditions and still practice them. So it's this really interesting mesh of this Aluk Todolo, and I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. I'm doing my very best in my current state.
It sounds good to me.
So they're doing their best for this ancient religion that they've practiced and Christianity, all within this, like, the majority of their region practices is of Muslim faith. So you get this like mix. They worship Sky Daddy, but they also worship water buffalo. And for this reason, buffaloes are probably one of the most essential parts of a Torajan funeral ceremony. And that's because they sacrifice these buffaloes because they see the buffalo as the transportation of the soul to heaven, to the afterlife. You can't get into the afterlife without a buffalo, at least one. But of course, the more buffalo you have, the faster you're gonna fucking get there.
I'd want more buffalo.
Yeah, the more
What
buffalo,
if
the
the
better.
one buffalo you have gets tired?
Yeah.
Need a backup buffalo.
It's not the size of the funeral, but the number of the buffalo.
It's important.
And honestly, after watching so many videos of these funerals, I think I'm a vegetarian now. I don't want to pass judgment, and I'm not. I understand that this is not just a fruitless sacrifice of the buffalo, since it is their mode to get these souls to heaven, but damn, it's a lot of buffaloes. It's really like the more the merrier.
How many?
There have been up to 60 buffaloes.
And they just kill all of them all at once?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the cost of funerals is so expensive for the Torajan people because they have to buy these buffaloes. They provide other things such as pigs, and they eat the meat of the buffaloes, and they can expect hundreds to thousands of people to show up to these funerals.
Wow.
Lower people of the lower caste can expect to pay about $20,000 for a funeral.
20,000?
And that's on the low rate because the buffalo are so expensive. So expensive. The higher caste can end up paying over $200,000 for a funeral. And
holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can
It's
they
a big
like
deal.
I'd be like, can rats pull the sleigh to heaven?
Right.
That's just crazy. That's more than college.
I know. Yeah, it's a lot. And the thing is that they've been able to, in like the more modern era within the last like 30 to 40 years, individuals will go into, I believe, why did I not write this country down? But I believe it's pronounced Paraguay, to be able to send money back home. They make much more money in the bigger cities to send money back home, and they're constantly saving for these funerals. It's such a huge part of their lives, like this death that they don't see as death in their culture is like the defining moment of someone's life.
Right. So I mean, if you look at it with that perspective, like here, I feel like we dump a bunch of money into a college education and then a house, because we see life as starting in your early 20s. And I mean, if you see life starting after death, it makes sense to dump a bunch of money in there. It's the same thing. It's just wild from my perspective.
And after hundreds of years of no one reporting back, what are you going to do? Just stop?
Right. Yeah.
You can't just stop after that.
No.
So yeah, it's very expensive. And the cost of the buffalo depends on how pretty or visually appealing it is. So there are certain breeds that are more expensive than others.
It's a special buffalo.
Yeah, there was one special buffalo I saw in a video that was like all white, and it had like human eyes that were like so white they were almost blue.
Wow.
It was beautiful. Like if I had to ride a buffalo into heaven, that's the one I'm gonna ride.
Yeah.
Call me a buffalo girl. I don't care about being a cowgirl. I'm a buffalo girl now.
I mean, it sounds like I'd be a buffalo girl too if I was relying on them to get me to heaven.
Yeah, and they do. They do. So they use the skin from the buffalo. They eat the meat from the buffalo. They distribute it all amongst the funeral. The family also feeds funeral attendees pig. They drink coffee, tea, and there are huge numbers of people. Like I said, they can expect thousands of people to show up to these events from far and wide. They welcome tourists with open arms. They see the more people that are there to celebrate their deceased loved one's life, the better. So it's a big freaking deal. It can lead up to like planning for months or even years, like we talked about. And the actual funeral ceremony lasts several days. But on the final day of the funeral, there's this like festival like procession that takes place, and the body is placed in a kind of like basket. You could kind of see it looks like a casket, and they place it in these ancestral tombs. And the Torajan people believe that the person is not actually dead until their body enters the tomb. And in all these videos, you can see the pallbearers like tossing the body like in the casket around and rocking it and like laughing. And they're just having a great time, because to them, this is like the last hurrah for this person, because they're still alive. This is the last thing that they're going to experience in this realm. So they just have a great time. People are like tossing money in the air that they've saved up for the funeral, and anyone can pick it up and it's theirs. And in their culture, this is considered a way to redistribute wealth throughout the community.
Okay.
I'm like, I want to go to a freaking Torajan funeral.
Yeah, what country is this?
This is in Sulawesi, Indonesia.
Okay.
Yes. And so they go into these ancestral tombs and that's it. But family reunions are not quite the same for the Torajan people either. Every 3 years, there is a second funeral, or a manene, where they recover the bodies and they take them out of their caskets. They worship them. They change their clothes because they're not in fashion anymore.
Yes, I want that to happen to me.
You must do this with my body.
Oh my gosh. Take off my Host for Science shirt. Give me the new night classy tee that's black.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. They put sunglasses on them and give them cigarettes. So
Do
let
they
me
really?
also. Oh yeah, we'll get to it. We'll roll. We will roll through the pictures in just
this
a
all
moment.
sounds glorious.
I know, it's freaking amazing. And okay, another sad part is that but it's also heartwarming. When babies die, they'll put the body into a hole in the tree so the two of them can grow together and live on forever.
That's nice.
I know. But yeah, this second funeral, if you will, it happens every 3 years. So the more people that die, the more ancestors they pull out. So people get to meet their ancestors that may have died before they were ever even born. And they look, relatively like they did when they died because they're pumped with that formalin. But it really just allows younger generations to pay respects to their literal ancestors.
Yeah, I'd kind of like to see a dead ancestor.
Me too. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the OG ancestry.com.
Yeah, they're way ahead of the curve. I'd like to see it.
It's very interesting. At first I was like, I don't know how to feel. And they recognize, they're like, yeah, we know it's unique, but it's what we do. So
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
Yeah. Why not? What happens when, because you can't pull everyone out. So
They
is there
do.
like
So
a limit?
Each family, I don't know what happens after hundreds of years.
Yeah, how many
people build
you
up.
can't be pulling.
One thing I do know is that before the Dutch arrived in the 1920s, their funerals looked a bit different. So they would put coffins in the side of cliffs or in caves. So I think that's where a lot of the older ancestors are now. And you can even take tours through these caves. There are skulls stacked up in some places. And you can just see on the side of an open cliff just coffins stacked in the side of a hill/cliff. So that's where the older ancestors are. Now, within the past 100 years, it seems to be that they're all within these ancestral tombs. So I don't know if that tradition will change or look any different within the next 100 years.
I feel like I imagine all this will just fill up.
I
what
know.
happens?
Well, we can go to the next picture. We will see a family pulling out on their second funeral day. How many coffins can we see? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, and
pulled out so far.
Does each family? It looks like they have a shed, and they keep all their relatives in that shed.
Yes, each
Okay.
family has their own.
Okay. Yeah, it has a concrete ceiling, and the walls are tile, and then it's just surrounded by open coffins that they pulled out.
Yep. Okay, go to the next picture.
Oh.
Yeah, so they clean off the bodies. They dust them. There might be some bugs on them, and then this is when they redress them. And it's not a weird thing. They're very comfortable with it. So if you go to the next picture,
Wait, can we describe what's happening here?
yeah,
Yeah. There's a body, and she looks very stiff and shriveled up, but they're standing her up, and it looks like they're cleaning her with something.
yeah, they're getting some bugs off of her. I think that's what the caption had said, and I'll cite all my sources. And the next picture, we'll see just how
my
Wow.
God.
they're very comfortable.
Yeah, there's kids smiling around these two corpses that, it looks like they get dried out and stiff, and they kind of just hold them up like dolls almost.
Yeah, they just prop them up, take some pictures with them.
And they look kind of like skeletons covered in leather with hair.
Yeah, the interesting thing that I learned while researching this lesson is that your hair doesn't really change. It's going to stay the same. It doesn't decompose.
Yeah. And
it's dead cells already.
yeah. And they've got dresses on. That one lady has glasses on.
They look like skeleton Muppets.
Yeah. They just look pretty much like skeleton Muppets. And everyone's just hanging around them, smiling.
It's very colorful. There's 12 family members all hugging them.
I highly encourage anyone listening to check out the pictures. If the idea of looking at mummified bodies doesn't disturb you, it's very interesting, and it's such a cool peek to see a unique culture that I would have never known about without the internet. There's one more picture that I really like that just shows, I don't know, it's just so unique.
Oh my God.
He looks like he has a Freddy Krueger mask. This guy, this is a corpse. His face just looks like leather. He looks like Leatherface. And it's pretty scary. But he's smoking a cigarette with a kid.
Yeah. Him and his nephew are smoking a cigarette together. And the caption was that, you know, this guy who's alive, his nephew, is probably... I don't know, in his teens, but his uncle had died more than 40 years ago.
Wow.
I was going to say, look at that 70s collar on that guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's his chance to, you know, catch up with Uncle, I'm not sure what his name is, Uncle Sanja.
I love that like 10-year-old kid smoking a cigarette.
You got to deal with your stress one way or another.
Yeah, I'd be smoking a cigarette too if I was forced to hang out with my uncle's corpse.
Hell yeah. If I was a corpse, I mean, light me up. Like, I want to smoke. I want to have the leather skin. I want to be tan, and I want to be fashionable. Is there much more to ask for?
Yeah, that shirt's a vintage now. It's cool.
Yeah, it's
Is
cool.
it Gucci?
It's in. Yeah, so if y'all don't cremate me, then pump me with formalin and keep me around for a couple years.
I'll do that for you.
Thank you.
We should do that with Tommy and Alec, like put them in our widow house.
Yeah, they can be like a scratching post for the cats. We would
Disrespectful.
We'll place some fuzzy blanket on your guys' laps so the cats can sit on you and not scratch
that'd
you.
be
They're like,
sweet.
look, he's wearing skinny jeans. Let's switch him out. They're out of style.
Oh my God, his mummified dig fell off.
Oh no, what are we gonna do now?
Hose for mummies. Well, that was your little peek into the culture and funeral traditions of the Torajan people of Indonesia. My sources are an NPR article called Photos. The Dead Live with the Loved Ones in This Indonesian Land. 2 Vice articles titled Love Beyond Death, Toraja's Unique Funeral Rites by Claudio Cyber. And Selfies, Family Reunions, and Corpses Standing Upright Inside Toraja's Surprising Relationship with Death by Iqbal Lubis. Vice Asia's YouTube video, Indonesian Tribes, Traditional Funeral Rituals, Mass Buffalo Sacrifice. A Guardian article by, again, Claudio Cyber, Cleaning the Dead, the Afterlife Rituals of the Torajan People. And a National Geographic YouTube video titled Here, Living with the Dead Bodies for Weeks or Years is Tradition. That is my lesson.
That was fantastic. I loved that. Thank you. And if you loved that as much as I did, please head to Apple Podcasts, rate, review, and subscribe. It seriously helps us so much. Follow us on social media, interact with us, visit our Patreon, check that out, look at our merch. We got some good stuff going on. Bottom line is, thank you for listening. Again, if you liked us, you might want to spread the love, share with a friend. But we are so grateful you are here. And that's it. 3, 2, 1. Class dismissed.
You think we can share these photos on Instagram? Cool. Those are some crazy photos.
I know.